We're talking here at ITF about urban mobility, and looking at it, is that something that you can generalise about? Aren't all urban mobility problems particular to a particular urban area?
Well, I think that's really important. Today in one of the panels I was in, somebody brought up the point that there's no one-size-fits-all solution when you're talking about mobility. Cities have different economic bases, they have different physical structures, they have different topographies, they have different climates. You know, biking is not going to be the solution in every city all year round, etc. So yes, it is important to remember that every city has its unique set of constraints and opportunities. But one of the nice things about being at this forum is that you may think you have to invent the wheel in your own city, but you learn from around the world. Chances are you're going to find another city that has some similar characteristics, and you can learn, share knowledge across cities.
Yeah, what has been the value of something like the ITF to looking at urban mobility problems?
Well, I think a part of it is to understand the different constraints in which people work. Sarah, there are some countries that are represented here that are resource poor, and there are some that are resource rich. The irony is that sometimes it doesn't, just because you have more resources doesn't mean that you're solving the problem better, because it has to do with processes and institutions. So you learn when you're at a summit like this that there has to be kind of a sweet spot between having the right resources, having the right institutions, having the political will, and then having a citizenry that will step up to the plate to demand or accommodate transport changes that are good for the city as a whole. And I do think that nobody always knows what that combination is when they're staying in their own city, but when they come and see other cities, they learn how to kind of pick and choose and put a new model together.
Is urban mobility one of the big problems we face going forward? Because it seems that there is a very much a shift towards urban living. People are coming out of the countryside, concentrating much more on urban centres. Is this going to be one of the big problems for us going forward?
Well, I mean, let's not forget that people's interest in urban mobility is often tied to other larger important social problems like climate change, like congestion, like safety. So I do think because urbanization is the watchword of the decade or the century or the millennium, and because cities are growing and transforming, all those problems are coming together, and mobility is a good entry point, but usually fixing mobility problems means solving other sets of social and environmental and economic problems.